My name is Thomas Boardman and I come from Leigh in Lancashire. I joined the Army in October 1939, a month after the war started, and I joined the Royal Army Ordnance Corps, which is based in Portsmouth, or was based in Portsmouth because it's no longer in existence, the corps. It's been disbanded. And after a few months of training, I was posted to Corsham, which is a mammoth underground ammunition depot in the hills around Bath. And eventually, after serving some time there, I was posted abroad. We didn't know where we were going at all, but we boarded the SS Duchess of York in Liverpool at the beginning of March 1941 and went across the Atlantic for about 5 days, and in a convoy of about 37 ships, of troop ships and destroyers, etc. After a few days, we struck due south, and as I said, we didn't know where we were going. We struck due south, and then went across eastwards to West Africa, Sierra Leone, Freetown, where we took on water and necessary things there. We were there for about 2 days. We didn't go ashore, and then we went due south to Cape Town, where we had 7 days, and we were let into the town by the ship commander 2 or 3 times during that week, and there was no problem really in that. Anyway, we returned to the ship on the 7th day, and we went north eastwards to Bombay, where the convoy split up more or less. Half of it went to the Middle East. Quite a few ships unloaded troops for India, and lo and behold, we were the only ship out of the convoy to go onwards to Singapore. And of course, as I said, it was March 1941, and we arrived in Singapore in beginning of May 1941. Of course, there's no war out there at that time, and everything was fine. There was plenty of food, there was much activities you wanted. You could play football, cricket, tennis, anything like that. It was more as a holiday, but little did we know what was coming, of course, which it eventually did. On the 8th of October, the Japanese decided to bomb us without notice. They just came over during the night and bombed Singapore, and that continued day after day after day until they took the whole of Malaya. They struck down from the north part of Malaya, due south to Singapore, and eventually, as you know, Singapore capitulated and we were all taken prisoner of war. From our positions that we found ourselves in, we were all marched to the eastern part of Singapore Island called Changi, and we were more or less left to our own devices. We started to get to know what rice was all about, because we were getting rice 3 times a day. Sometimes partly cooked, sometimes overcooked, and sometimes just right. And anyway, we finally got the hang of it, and we settled down in Changi. As I said, that was in February 1942, when we were taken prisoner of war. In September 42, we were still prisoners of war in Changi, and they put before us forms to sign saying that we wouldn't attempt to escape. It was pretty hopeless trying to escape from Singapore. Let's show up in Thailand. It was all jungle, virgin jungle, and we refused to sign. So what did they do? They collected us all from wherever we were. I was in an old Chinese shop that had been deserted. That was where we was living. You had to get down where you could find it. There was no beds or anything like that laid down. And we were all taken to Salrang Barracks and on the Barrack Square. And we built latrines in the Barrack Square. And we were there for 3 days and 3 nights until the officer said, well, look, we might as well sign these because there's no chance of any of us escaping. So we signed them under duress, as it were. The people sleeping next to a trench full of excreta. It was just grimmer. And in October 1942, the Japanese decided, unbeknown to us, that it would hasten things up to get troops to Burma. They built a railway from Bangkok in Thailand through to Rangoon in Burma. So that meant sending working parties, and there's about 50,000 prisoners of war. And we were split up into train loads and sent up there on a 4-day, 4-night journey in cattle trucks, which was horrible, with no sanitary arrangements at all. Most of us had dysentery at the time, and you had to relieve yourself wherever you were by half hanging out of these trucks which had sliding doors, or where you were. It was very primitive, and there was quite a few people died on that trip. And we got 1 meal each day until we finally got to a place called Bampong, which is in the central part of Thailand.